I am here the sun is in my eyes. I'm in Poblacion Dauin, and this is a lovely site. And this is actually today's Bonifacio Day, which is in honor of a Philippine revolutionary hero, Andres Bonifacio. I'm probably butchering the name. And then there is a day off, so everybody's picnicking here, families enjoying. This is a popular site for a day out on the beach. At the same time, this is an amazing dive site, and we saw some really interesting macro critters, gobies, ghost pipefish, a crinoid shrimp. So let me show you what we saw. Okay, here we have a very interesting piece of dead coral, and this piece of coral was knocked into the Muck diving area of Poblacion Dauin by Typhoon Yolanda about 2 years ago. And here is my friend Roxy diving behind that goby. Now, I think this is a ghost goby, Pleurositia michelli, and I believe it's a male guarding some eggs here. And this used to be a piece of acropora, of staghorn coral, and now it died, and it's just in the wrong spot for corals to grow. And it's overgrown with mostly filamentous algae. So this goby is really a master of survival, and it found itself a spot there to guard its eggs, fertilize them. The female matching that male, of course, would have laid them, and then that goby is living on a piece of coral reef, which is probably about 100 meters away from the actual coral reef in Poblacion. There is more very interesting goby action in that spot, and most notably we have a different species, and that's Istigobius decoratus. That's a sand goby, very well camouflaged, and it's doing these bouncy movements, and I believe these bouncy movements are like a gorilla pounding his chest to show, I'm big and I own this place. And then it saw me and it escaped, and now the same escape slowed down 12 times. Very fast escape behavior. Now, I don't actually recall what I was trying to say with my regulator out during this dive, and I don't know what this eel is trying to say. Now, this is a Napoleon snake eel named after Lucien Bonaparte, the nephew of the defeated French emperor. And this is a crocodile snake eel. So these are very curious fishes. They're actually quite long, but most of the body is hidden in the sand, and they're lion weight predators going for small fishes. So amazing faces, really. Very bizarre heads. Now, what do we have here? We have two goldfish, and they're digging in the sand, in the soft bottom habitat. And they have a hanger-on. And the hanger-on is this wrasse, this smaller, more elongated fish. So you very frequently see that. Fish which take advantage of the digging of these goldfish. And because it's on this slope, they're really causing this small avalanche here. So this is really a very good example how these soft bottom habitats, how these muck habitats are different from coral reefs. And this I filmed only probably up to 30 or 40 meters away from a coral reef. Now, I really want to refer you to this full-length documentary I made about all the interesting biological features of the animals in these muck habitats. I'm linking to it here. So the goldfish are probably going for small worms or for soft invertebrates, and then the wrasse is hoping to get something which the goldfish is essentially overlooking. So look at this continuing avalanche here. Now, another very interesting species when it comes to foraging are these striped eel catfish, and I love filming them. They are just so easy pickings in a sense that they're venomous, so they won't try to get away from a diver, and they form these really interesting schools. And you know, here I could just put the camera in the sand, and then they would approach the camera, and you can see how they're collaborating to dig stuff up from the sand. Then when they get spooked, they move away. Now here, very interesting also, there's a surgeonfish and a parrotfish. So they're both herbivores, but they're very different herbivores. So the surgeonfish really scrape the hard algae from the top, whereas the parrotfish eat the algae which are hard to get. Now, as promised at the beginning of the video, there's a crinoid shrimp. So you see this animal in the middle. This is a tiny shrimp, probably only 6 or 7 millimeters long, and it's highly camouflaged, and it lives its whole life on this feather star, on this crinoid. So I'm always really excited to find these. There's another crustacean which is highly camouflaged, and this is a crab, it's a decorator crab using seaweed on the top of its carcass to blend in this field of seaweed. Very curious strategies in the Muck. So whom do we have here? This is a mantis shrimp. So these are actually only vaguely related to, you know, what you would normally call a shrimp. They are still crustaceans, of course, but they branched a long time ago, and they are very inquisitive animals. So here I placed my camera in front of one, and I was using this, the camera got a punch, and I was using this Inon close focus wide angle lens, which is called a bug eye lens, and I think that goes really well with this kind of animal. So they live in burrows, and then they come out of these burrows, they interact with other mantis shrimp, they look for edibles in the sand, they fight off intruders like pesky underwater videographers. So once every couple of months, these are quite abundant in the Muck areas of Dauin. There was another punch for the camera. So you often have a chance to observe these when you dive. Now, no Muck diving adventure is complete without spotting nudibranchs. Why nudie? Because their gills, seen here, are naked. Now, there is such a massive variety of these slugs in the Indo-Pacific. So these are essentially like your garden slugs. They're mollusks. They're like snails which have lost their shell, hence slugs. And there is a wide variety in terms of food specialists, and they're also colored and textured in very different ways. So look at this one. This is injured at the head, this individual, and it seems a extra rhinopore group. Now, here are two nudibranchs which are mating, and that's also a really interesting issue with these. So they are hermaphrodites, meaning they're male and female at the same time. So you don't know who is fertilizing whom, or if both are doing it at the same time. Yet another beautiful nudibranch, and this I believe is a species of Glossodoris. And then this is another one of these animals which in Dauin on Negos Island, where all of that was filmed of course, they would occur in large accumulations once in a while. So every couple of months you would see 20 or 30 of these during a single dive, and then they're gone. So very curious. There must be something happening with their larvae, and you know how they reproduce and how the larvae are recruited. This is yet another shot with this bug eye lens, which I love so much. So the sand here looks like a planet. This is planet nudibranch, and I'm sure that nudibranch thinks of the sand as its territory, and it's probably not aware, it's certainly not aware what's happening, the party which is only happening about 20 or 30 meters away from where it's crawling, all these humans. Now, more fascinating stuff, and we're back with the fishes. So this is a seahorse, which of course is a fish. and look at all these filamentous algae growing on these animals. So they're actually really hard to spot. They're not very big, and they are so well camouflaged and they're blending in so well, but not nearly as well as their cousin, the bent stick pipefish. So look at the face, look at the head of this pipefish. It does somewhat look like a seahorse, and indeed it's a close relative in the same family of fishes. And these look and they behave like a dead stick from a tree which had fallen into the water. So here you see the whole animal, and it's bouncing around, it's moving around a little bit on the sand, but it's really, keeping character basically. So this animal would never dart away quickly. They probably can swim quickly for short distances, but mainly they're so passive and so still to maintain that impression of being a stick. So again, I'd like to refer you to my documentary Muck, the biology of sandy habitats in the tropics, which elaborates quite a bit more on all these aspects of the biology of these muck diving animals. And camouflage is one of the most important ones. If there is no coral reef with cracks and crevices where they can hide in between, well, what are you going to do? One of a few things. You can be very venomous or poisonous, or you could look like a piece of wood. You could camouflage yourself, and this is what this fish is doing. Now, one thing is to look like a stick, like this pipefish. Another is to look like a ball of algae, and this is what this Ambon Scorpionfish is doing. So this is a really rare fish, and I'm always excited to find it. And look how little like a stereotypical fish that looks. So I hope you enjoyed this. Like, subscribe, send me super thanks, and see you soon.